Number 16, we want to solve this. Now, we could try to factor, but it's not going to factor. So we're going to have to go to what always works, the quadratic formula. Okay. Now, with the quadratic formula, the value in front of x squared is your a value, the value in front of the x is your b, and the value here is c. It must always be set equal to 0. And it is, so we can now apply it. So our x answer, the value that's going to make this true, will be equal to the opposite of b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. All I got to do is plug in the a, b, and c value there, and it's going to tell me my answers. So do notice there's a plus or minus because there's two answers. There's the addition side and there's the subtraction side. It's basically two equations written in one. So what I recommend is we always come over here, put a's value is 1 because there's a 1 right there technically. B's value is a positive 8. C is a positive 2. I always recommend writing the 4 times A times C value right here. So 4 times 1 is 4 times the C value 2 is an 8 right here. So here's what we have. X is going to equal the opposite of B. B is 8, so the opposite of 8, negative 8, plus or minus square root B squared, that's 8 squared, minus 4ac. We already have calculated 4ac right here. So just minus whatever's there, which is an 8, all over 2 times a. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, so far looking pretty good. Nothing that difficult. So we'll get x equals negative 8 plus or minus a square root. Now 8 squared, what's 8 squared? 64. 64 minus 8. 64 minus 8 is what? 56. All over 2. At this point, we can't go any further, so we're going to separate it into its plus side and its minus side. So x is equal to a negative 8 plus the square root of 56 divided by 2, or the other option is x is the negative 8 minus the square root of 56 over 2. Once I get it down to this stage, I'm going to go ahead and do the addition right here and do the subtraction part right here. When I do that, I just do the top and then divide by 2, and I'm going to get an approximate answer. When I did it, I got negative about 0.26, so about negative 0.3. Over here, when I did it, what did I get? I got negative 7.74. And so those are your two answers that if you plugged them back in to the original equation, they're going to be the answers that x value there and there that make it equal 0. Technically, what they are is they are the spots where it crosses the x-axis. We could just graph x squared plus 8x plus 2 and see where it crosses the x-axis, and that would be our answers. Because notice that's when the height is, guess what? 0. That's all we're doing here, but the quadratic formula is doing the math to it to get the answer that we want for the x values.